Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping straight into a topic I think many of us can relate to lately.
Oh, yeah?
Those unexpected hobbies. The ones that pop up, sometimes they stick around, and, well, often they don't.
Right, the sourdough phase, maybe.
Exactly. We've got this really great source conversation here, sort of a candid chat between two people looking back at their own, sometimes surprising, attempts at new pastimes. So our mission today is really to dig into why we pursue these things, what actually motivates us, and those very, very familiar feelings of excitement and maybe eventual abandonment.
Yeah, and what's really striking about their chat is just the sheer range of these hobby experiments.
Yeah.
It's not just one thing.
Oh, okay.
We're talking, full-on sourdough obsessions, like you mentioned, but also, like, detailed photo studies of leaves and coffee mugs.
Views and coffee mugs.
And then the classic hope tied up in buying a guitar or maybe a ukulele. And even attempting those internet handstand challenges. Remember those?
Oh, vaguely. With pillows, maybe?
Probably. It just captures this collective human thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Exploring, trying new stuff, especially when maybe our routines change or we have more time at home.
Okay, let's start with one I think almost everyone saw or tried. That huge bread baking boom.
The flour shortage was real.
It really was. Sourdough starters were suddenly like household pets.
Yeah.
And banana bread recipes went viral. The source chat mentions both. What do you think was really behind that? Was it just filling time or wanting a new skill or something else?
That's a good question. I mean, having more time, sure, that was part of it, no doubt. But I think it might have gone a bit deeper. Baking, especially something involved like sourdough, it gives you this very tangible connection.
Tangible how?
You're using your hands, all your senses are engaged. That smell of the yeast, the feel of the dough, when things feel maybe uncertain or a bit abstract, that kind of grounding sensory thing can be incredibly appealing.
Right, something real you can touch.
Exactly. Yeah. Plus, there's the satisfaction, right? Creating something from just flour and water, a very visible win, a manageable project with a hopefully delicious reward.
Absolutely. And then, well, almost inevitably comes the gear.
The gear.
The conversation hits on this hilariously buying that fancy stand mixer, being totally convinced you're about to become, the next baking star overnight.
Happens all the time.
It highlights this funny human thing, doesn't it? Thinking the right tools automatically mean you have the skill. Why do we do that? Equate buying stuff with actual ability.
Well, maybe it taps into our desire for like efficiency
Yeah.
or a shortcut.
A
I
shortcut.
see the pros with their high-end kit, and it's just tempting to think, if I get that, I can skip the messy learning bit.
Right, the frustrating part.
It's a kind of fantasy, isn't it?
Mhm.
But as the chat shows, that shiny new mixer, it doesn't actually know how to bake. And the expensive camera won't just magically frame the perfect shot by itself.
Sure.
The real skill comes from, practice, understanding the craft, not just owning this stuff.
Right. I mean, the gap between owning a guitar and actually playing something someone recognizes, it can feel huge.
Definitely.
And the source conversation is full of these hobbies that didn't quite stick. The blurry leaf photos you mentioned, the dusty guitars, ukuleles that can only manage like 1.5 songs.
Yeah,
It's almost comforting how relatable it is.
it really is.
Why do you think we dive in so enthusiastically only for it to fizzle out? What's the emotional journey of a short-lived hobby?
Well, there's often that massive initial surge of excitement, right?
Hmm.
It's new, it's shiny, and we have this maybe idealized picture of what it'll be like.
The end result.
Exactly. We picture the perfect cake or playing the song flawlessly or the amazing photo, but we don't always fully grasp the dedication, the persistence needed in that messy middle part,
The practice.
the practice, the mistakes, hitting plateaus, just the sheer effort. When that reality sets in, the initial spark can dim a bit.
Yeah.
So emotionally, maybe starts with joy, anticipation, then moves through some frustration, maybe self-doubt when you're not instantly brilliant. And then eventually, it just gets quietly put aside for the next shiny new thing that promises that quick hit of excitement again.
The ukulele example they mentioned is just perfect for this.
Fewer strings.
Exactly. The idea that it's the easier instrument, less intimidating, it speaks volumes about how we're drawn to things that seem simple.
Yeah, that perception of simplicity.
But as they found out, even the easier stuff needs commitment. They're very limited success what was it? Somewhere Over the Rainbow and like part of Riptide.
Something like that.
It just perfectly shows the gap between thinking this will be easy and the actual work involved.
It really does. That perception of being easier, it can definitely lower the barrier to entry, which is good in a way.
Sure. Gets you started.
But getting good, even basically good, still takes practice.
Mhm.
Time, fewer strings, yeah, but mastering chords, strumming, rhythm, that's still effort.
Right.
Their experience just highlights how easily good intentions get, sidetracked by life, or just that dip in motivation when learning isn't instantly gratifying anymore.
And then they moved into talking about internet challenges, the handstands
I guess the handstand.
with strategic pillow placement for safety. What drives us to jump onto those trends? And why does learning often look, well, less than graceful?
There's a big social element there, I think.
Yeah.
Wanting to join in, connect with what everyone else is doing,
All right, so.
maybe a bit of that,
Yeah.
and perhaps wanting to showcase our efforts, whether it's success or maybe even funnier, our relatable failures.
Struggle is real.
Totally. And the humor often comes from that contrast, doesn't it? Between the polished versions you see online looking so effortless and the actual awkward, wobbly reality of trying it yourself. Those pillows are just a perfect symbol of ambition meeting, well, gravity.
Gravity always wins. The conversation also brought up something really interesting about social media. This urge, maybe even pressure, to document every new hobby attempt.
Oh, depth.
Does that change how we actually engage with learning something new? Does a hobby only feel real or like it counts if it's posted online? With the dramatic music and the captions about personal growth.
Yeah.
Even if you just crash during your handstand.
That's such a crucial point, how external validation gets tangled up with just doing the thing for yourself.
Right.
When documenting it, sharing it becomes part of the hobby itself, the focus can shift, can't it?
Sure.
From just enjoying the process of learning to wanting the audience's approval.
Yeah, getting likes.
Exactly. There's this pressure to curate an image. Either you're effortlessly good or you're hilariously bad, but in a charming way. And they can sometimes maybe take away from the quiet, personal satisfaction of just messing around and figuring things out without needing anyone else to see it or comment on it.
It really makes you think about how different it is from childhood hobbies.
Oh, complete.
When you just did stuff for fun, remember being so proud of your messy crayon drawings.
Absolutely no filter needed.
As adults, we often seem to jump straight to wanting to be proficient, like immediately. There's a real loss in that, isn't there? That freedom of just having low expectations and messing around.
A huge loss.
Yeah.
As kids, it's often just pure intrinsic joy driving it. We make stuff, explore, experiment without worrying about judgment or needing a specific outcome.
Yeah.
That pure fun often gets lost when we grow up and focus more on, measurable progress or what other people think. Reclaiming that beginner mindset where the focus is just on exploring and enjoying it, not being perfect right away, that can be incredibly liberating.
Hmm.
There's so much value in that initial phase of just trying things out, discovering stuff without the pressure to go viral or become an instant expert.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into our sometimes fleeting hobbies, it seems the impulse to try new things is this really fascinating mix, isn't it? Curiosity, wanting new skills, maybe sometimes just following the crowd or a
Yeah.
trend.
Yeah, all of that.
And the path is rarely smooth. Buying the gear, hitting roadblocks, even letting things fade. It's all incredibly common, very human, really.
Totally normal.
And maybe the big takeaway here is realizing how that pressure, the one to document everything and be instantly good, can sometimes overshadow the simple, quiet joy of just trying something new for its own sake.
Exactly. And that kind of leads us to a final thought, maybe something for you, the listener, to consider. Thinking about all this, how might we actively try to get some of that beginner mindset back in our own lives?
Hmm.
Can we find ways to explore something new just for the fun of it, for the discovery, without that weight of expectation or needing everyone online to validate it? What would it look like for you to embrace your adult crayon scribbles? Those first, maybe imperfect, but genuinely enthusiastic steps into something new.
Definitely something to think about.